So thanks for tuning in to Behind the Screen. Today we have DL Griffin. You may know him as a the lottery winner. Also, right now he has a book called The Manifest It All. And I actually made my first introduction with him by scrolling TikTok and ran across his content. When I went through your content creation, you did have quite a big journey too. Like, I mean, the amount of content you have on TikTok alone was like amazing. Like, do you post every single day? It looks like.
Yeah, multiple times a day. Pretty much whenever I feel like it, I just post something. Even if it's just a minute or two. If it's a thought that I feel like I need to put out to the public, I just post it. At one point I was posting like 10 or 15 10 or 15 times a day.
I mean, and I hear that works actually is doing the consistency and always showing up and stuff like that. Do you feel like that makes a big difference, or was it more just like you just kept trying whatever would work and just see and just kind of like experimenting essentially? What was your thought process in just posting every day?
I don't think the amount of content made any difference. Once I started to focus on the quality of the content and helping others, that's when it started to pick up some steam.
Gotcha. So you
Mhm.
actually think that it's about quality over quantity in a sense.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. So like also with your content too, like there is a diverse range, like we talked about a little bit before, where you
Yeah.
have like, funny skits where you do like the emo day and stuff with your kids where you're doing like anime stuff
Mhm.
and you do that like colognes you're promoting and then the positivity and growth. Like what would you label your like content now? Do you want to be in a certain lane or you like the more broader sense that you're kind of a man of many hats?
If I had to label it down to one thing, I would just call it self improvement. Sort of the self improvement niche, if you want to call it a niche, but that within
Hmm.
itself has like a broad spectrum of things that can help you improve. I mean, it, any person, when they want to become a more elevated version of themselves, they have to work on themselves physically, mentally, spiritually, if that's your thing, financially, um, emotional. There's so many different things just underneath that one umbrella that you can almost make limitless content about self improvement.
Gotcha. So another question with this would be, I noticed that a lot of your content, especially towards the where it is now, is a lot of like growth and positivity and almost like self help. When you've like looks like you've dabbled into like The Secret and the Four Agreements and books like that, and kind of made your own ebook with that. What made this transition to where you started like just being more vulnerable and being more your true self and not hiding who you are as a person?
Uh, I've always had little hints and little notes of that, like in my personality, if you will. Like I've
Hmm.
always been like that. My family always used to call me the old man of of the family, like the old spiritual guide or whatever. But
Yeah.
over time, as I've gotten older, just I've dove a little deeper into myself and made peace with that and incorporated it into my personality and sort of formulated this person who I am now, which I'm still evolving, still growing, but it took a little while to get here, but I'm happy where I am now.
For sure. And I've had kind of the similar journey. So that's why I'm wondering, just from your own experience, was it something pivotal that happened in your life that like you hit a certain age, you had children, near death experience, the death in the family? Was there some pivotal moment that made you kind of like embrace the kind of inward reflection to find out this version of you?
Not one moment in particular. I just
Hmm.
took inventory of like all the relationships around me and how I was being a willing participant in my own like emotional destruction, if you will. Like I grew up doing a lot of people pleasing because of my background,
Mm.
and I grew up in a really volatile environment. I'm originally from Far Rockaway, Queens, New York, and if anybody
Mhm.
is familiar with that environment, it's highly volatile, really violent, a lot of drug abuse, a lot of shootings and things like that. I've lost people close to me that still live in that environment, and
Mm.
you develop like a survival mechanism really early on. And for me, it was, I guess it was people pleasing, trying to get everyone to like me, to sort of like stay out of trouble, to be like the nice guy. But as time went on, I started to see that that didn't really serve me. It just got me used, and people would pretend to like me just to get things out of me. And
Hmm.
I guess over time, I just said enough is enough. And I started to really dive into who I was as a person, like what I liked and the identity I wanted to assume.
100%, and that resonates with me very much. So, I've had that same feeling myself, where
Mm,
I have to like walk on eggshells around certain people because otherwise, they just don't understand where I'm coming from. Maybe against the upbringing, their background, whatever it may be. But I have to usually tone myself down in order to keep the peace, essentially, if that makes sense.
yeah, that makes perfect sense. You have a lot of great things about your personality, but when you judge it, when you judge the people you're around, then you start to notice who deserves what, and you dial yourself
Hmm.
back a little bit.
Right. I feel like it's almost like those people that are very insecure or not confident, stuff like that, or and are wearing those masks. They can sense the authenticity that you may be projecting outward,
Right.
and that makes them feel insecure to attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I've noticed that sometimes. I don't know. Maybe it's because, like you said, with certain insecure people, when you show up authentically, and maybe they wait around to see if there's any chinks in your armor or whatever, and they see that you are actually what you portray,
Hmm.
maybe it triggers something in them and they start to treat you poorly. But you have to have enough self respect and self love for yourself that you don't accept that type of behavior. You don't tolerate it.
Do you feel like you had the similar intuition when you were younger too?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I could always pick up on, I guess, like people's emotions and things like that. I always looked a little deeper into things. And I used to hear a lot, people would respond and say, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. I disagree. I think everything is that deep. I just think most people would rather operate on autopilot and not go that deep into certain subjects.
Right, I know exactly what you're talking about. And actually, that's what I told my wife all the time. That's my most frustrating thing I ever hear, is that it's not that deep. I'm like, I just don't know if you can understand. Like, maybe you're just surface level and you've never been exposed to maybe thinking that deep about things or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And maybe it's a part of being a neurodivergent person, autism,
Yeah, yeah,
ADHD. I don't even know the science behind it, but
yeah.
definitely there is certain types of people that are more in tune to
Mm-hmm.
a deeper level of thought, you know? So what I saw too is that at a young age, you already did also have kind of a, dreamer, and the world's my oyster, and you can do anything you put your mind to at a very young age. I think it was like 2011, 2012. You went to Hollywood to pursue a dream in some sort of Hollywood type of field, maybe acting or something like that. Can you share that story about what happened there?
Oh well, I didn't actually go to Hollywood or anything, but I did do some extra work, and what was the movie? The movie was called Don't Know Yet, starring James Kyson Lee. He probably doesn't remember, but I got to meet him there. Had some experiences on the set, and pretty much just doing background work. And I did an episode of Lizard Lick Towing. Yeah, I did extra.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, that was, yeah, just pretty much me trying my hands out at different things. I'm not afraid to try things. I'm not afraid to try something and fail at it, or not necessarily fail at it, but try something and try something else. And yeah, I've always been a dreamer.
Yeah, and so like, what was the initial dream when you were so young? Like, because I saw the headshots and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
what was the initial dream? What was the dream then? Like your goal? Because you said also you kind of, your dream hasn't like died or anything like that, but it's kind of
Mhm.
evolved as well. So I want to hear, what was the original dream when you were young? Trying to make it out there, doing either acting or whatever it is, and then what is the now dream evolved into now? What is the expectation of that dream?
Hmm. Well, I've actually never given up on being famous, like obviously, because I still put myself out there. I just sort of changed avenues. I'm not against. I'll, I'll still be open to doing TV shows and obviously interviews, and just getting my message out there, putting my face out there, putting my own brand and personality, my own spin on things. Um, I'm still very much for that. But I guess now it's evolved into, instead of I guess just like reading somebody else's script and just acting that out. Um, read my own life script, pretty much, and putting that out there to the world.
If you were to be speaking to another person that's on the beginning of their content creation journey, like what advice what advice would you give to them to help pursue their dreams or aspirations, either it's in content or becoming a Hollywood actor or anything, or fitness goals, etc.? What advice would you give to somebody trying to become that?
I would say take some time for yourself and really learn yourself. Think about all the experiences you have been through and where you are right now and where you want to go in the future. Really think about who you want to become. Study how to become that person and then take aligned action to accomplish those goals. Because if you don't know if you don't know exactly what if you don't know exactly who you want to be, you'll find yourself in a bunch of different areas trying a bunch of different things that may not even resonate with you. So find out specifically what type of person you want to be, what that person looks like, what they're into, what their hobbies are, and sort of align your activities with that identity.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. And I actually would like to say that that's 100% the way to do things, and not just for a dream situation, but also people that are having trouble with relationships. Like,
Yeah.
how do you know what you want in a partner unless you know
Mm-hmm.
more about yourself? And how can you love someone else until you actually love yourself and stuff like that? So, I think that's great advice for pursuing dreams or relationships or whatever, because until you know what you are, who you are, and what you like, and not be persuaded by society, your parents, or influenced by other things, you will be disappointed. How many people, go pursue a career as a doctor because their family told them to, and they're
Yep.
miserable because,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden they have to transition, and all that time is quote unquote wasted and stuff like that. So definitely, I think you're 100% right that you need to do more self reflection, journaling, meditation, and things like that to be able to know exactly what you want for this life.
True. So you don't end up looking for something outside of yourself to complete you. Something that really isn't even yours. You took
Mhm.
somebody else's ideas and identity and tried to apply them to you, and maybe years down the line, years that you can't get back, you realize that this isn't even what you wanted.
So you have a book out right now, I believe, right on your ebook. It's on your page. It's linked in your YouTube and things like that. Could
Yeah.
you maybe explain what the book consists of, how you got to the point of making this book, and I would love to like kind of plug in right here, uh, so other people can find access to your book that you just put out.
Yeah, I made I think you're being a little generous when you call it a book, but I like to more I like to call it more of a manifestation guide, like sort of an electronic pamphlet. Just a quick, short, and direct way to shift your mind state from where it is now into where you want it to go. Now, I'm not saying that it'll happen overnight, but if you practice the steps in the guide consistently, if I had to put a time frame on it, I'll say 3 months. You'll be thinking completely differently than you thought within the prior 3 months.
Mm. So is it similar to like because I did see that the book also or pamphlet as you said it has like you can figure out how to I guess change your perception mindset to be more optimistic and positive because it says you can find access to like love, money, success, or general and stuff like that in that range. Is that kind of what it is? Is kind of just a mindset change? Is it overall what it is?
Yeah, just a general guide to help shift your mindset from, let's say, finances. A lot of us grew up without enough, without an adequate amount of money. So some of us,
Hmm.
and that causes money traumas around spending, around saving, and things like that. But I believe these things can be shifted, can be changed by, I'll just say, like doing more for yourself. Now, I'm not saying break the
Hmm.
bank to do for yourself, but treat yourself in any way that you can afford. And with time, you'll start to view money differently. You'll start to see that it's okay to spend on things that make you feel good, because at the end of the day, like, we're
Mhm.
chasing a feeling. That's what I believe. We're chasing a feeling of completion, of adequacy, of, like, whatever we didn't get is what we're seeking to attain, like, emotionally.
Mhm. I gotcha. Yeah, and actually, it's funny you say that too. Is like, I watched a video back in the day about motivational stuff to kind of like change your mindset to strive for more and stuff like that. It was like a Steve Harvey video where he talked about, get yourself a first class like plane ticket, and once you're
Yeah.
in that
Hmm.
environment and you see what life can be like, it can shift your mind perception to be like, okay, I want this now that I've had it.
Yeah.
Now, how do I go to the steps and make it happen?
Yeah.
And so is that kind of similar kind of expectation for somebody that was to read your ebook?
Yeah, I would say that's the exact sort of thing you can expect out of the ebook. Um, just how to shift your mind from where it is to where you want it to be. Just plain and
Mhm.
simple, to put it that way.
Growing is work. It's painful. It's not fun.
Right. But it's necessary.
100%. And speaking of growth and stuff like that too, I did notice there was a point in time where you were like a little bit overweight. It seemed like I think 280 was what you had in some of your videos that you posted.
Hmm.
Like, did you just naturally go to that way at a certain point in time, and then one day a David Goggins epiphany happened? You need to switch your life around, or kind of how did this all transition happen?
Actually, I was prior to getting married, I was really fit. Even more fit than I am now. And then I didn't notice that my views on marriage were unrealistic. And
Mm,
after I got married, and mentally I just settled in, and I said, okay, I'm married now. This is pretty much the end game, and I let myself go, and I completely spiraled into depression, and I was just not good to myself. And one day,
mm.
something told me to get on the scale, and it was 280 pounds. That was the heaviest I'd ever been in my life, and I'm not gonna lie, I stayed that way for quite a few years. But it was my mother, actually. She said something just really short, and she said, "You need to get in the gym." And for some reason, at that time, at that moment, it stuck with me. And I've been in the gym ever since. That was about almost 3 years ago. And I've been consistently keeping the weight off since then.
Do you have any like idols or heroes that you look up that inspire you to do like your content creation and to pursue your dreams?
Uh, I think when I was younger, I looked up to people for inspiration a little more. But now my inspiration is pretty much self motivated. I do a good job at keeping myself motivated and giving myself the same sort of reverence that I give to celebrities, because they're no different than you and I, in my opinion.
Mm,
They started somewhere. They held to their framework. They stuck with the dream, and now they're somewhere else. And that's the whole process. You start out in one place, and you keep going. You keep putting in the reps, like you said earlier in the video, and
mhm.
eventually you end up in a completely different place as a completely different person.
What is your end goal with your content creation as well, man? Like, what are you trying to pursue at the end of all this? Like, is it tomorrow, one day you hopefully get like a book signing deal for your growth thing? You get your own like podcast, you got your own like clothing line. Like, what would be the ideal finish line for you when it comes to your content creation?
Hmm. The ideal end goal for me, I would never stop doing content creation. Like, I will always do that in some form or the other. Like, I will always put content out there. But the little boy in me right now is saying that I would still love to be in movies and TV shows, be world renowned, famous, um, fulfilled within myself. That
Mm.
would be the end goal for me. It,
Okay, very
it,
cool. So being in a spotlight somewhere on a big platform would kind of be the overall expectation.
yeah, that would make the little boy in me smile. It really would.